Hello everyone, welcome back to this course Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. Over the last 4 classes, we discussed about what marketing metrics is all about, why marketing metrics are important and how marketing metrics can be applied for informed business decision making. We will also try to understand various categories of marketing metrics, then we delved into the mapping of marketing metrics to various stages of customer decision making journey under a framework called the marketing funnel. So, by this time we have a clear understanding that marketing is not driven by gut feeling, marketing is and should be driven by data. In today's class, we will try to look into a framework for data driven marketing strategy. So, before delving into this framework, let me define what is marketing strategy all about. A marketing strategy is a company's long term blueprint for reaching to potential customers, convincing them to buy our product and achieving business goals such as increased sales or brand awareness. So, how do I do that? How do I achieve these goals? By defining the target audience, by setting a value proposition and key messaging across multiple channels. So, in a nutshell, marketing strategy consists of goals or objectives, the target market, the value proposition, the market research, key messages and channels. So, when we talk about this particular framework, the framework for data driven marketing strategy, it consists of 8 components. First one being the strategic objectives, followed by creation of a database about customers, then analysis of the customers data, customer segmentation, customers targeting, marketing campaign, privacy issues and ultimately the metrics. We will try to understand various components of this data driven marketing strategy framework. The first component, as I said, is the strategic objective. What is strategic objectives? These are basically high level long term goals that define what an organization wants to achieve to fulfill its mission and vision. Strategic objectives acts as crucial steps between broad vision statement and daily task, often defined using a framework called SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time bound. So, one example of strategic objective can be to achieve the market share of 20% within next 5 years. Overall, strategic objectives helps us understand ourselves, who we are, what do we want to achieve and what are our principles. Basically, it helps us know ourselves as it is given in the picture. It is about knowing yourself. The next important component of data driven marketing strategy is the database, creation of a customers database. An organization first needs to create a database of customers of the product category it wants to sell. So, at this particular step, we will try to capture the data regarding customers from the entire market rather than concentrating on a particular segment or the segment of our interest. So, this step acts as a master file for the entire database. It is all about knowing our customer. It is the first step towards knowing our customer. Coming to the third step, it is the analysis of the database. This component helps us know our customers in detail. Organizations apply various tools and techniques such as data mining, machine learning to discover knowledge existing in the database. What is the pattern? What is the cause and effect relationship among different variables? So, detailed analysis helps us understand those aspects. So, with detailed analysis, we may be able to understand the various patterns that is existing inside the data set. Coming to the next component, which is the customer segmentation. In marketing, segmentation refers to the process of dividing the entire market into homogeneous groups based on similarity. The basis of segmentation can be a demographic base such as age, gender, income, education. It can be a geographic base such as rural, urban, then hill stations, plain areas, or let us say developed countries, developing countries, etc. And another base of segmentation can be the psychographic variables such as motivation, learning, personality, which are complex construct. They are not easy to capture. They cannot be directly measured, rather they are captured through certain set of questionnaires or scales. So, when we talk about the purpose of segmentation, it is to cater to the customized needs of the potential customers. As we know that various groups may have various needs and preferences in the market. Some may look for value for money, some others may look for superior performance, some people may look for the durability of the product. In presence of such heterogeneous preferences, it is extremely unlikely that a single value proposition can satisfy all type of customers, as the needs and preferences of various customers are different. Therefore, it is advisable that companies make an appeal only to those customers who are beneficial for them and will prefer this particular brand over the other offerings in the market, over our competitors. The next step is the customer targeting. Once the market is segmented, once the entire market is divided into multiple homogeneous groups, our next task is to identify one or a few segments which will create more value for our brand. All the segments will not be beneficial for us. All the segments cannot create significant value for our brand. Rather, only one or a few groups will create more value for us, because they will find more value in our value proposition as compared to the competition. So, by this stage, we already understand what is our core competency, what is our competitive advantage, and we also understand the needs and preferences of the various market segments. Therefore, we will only choose those segments which has a good alignment with our proposed product offering, with our proposed value proposition. This particular step is called customer targeting. Once this targeting is decided, once the market, segments which we will target is decided, it is time to start with the marketing campaign. Now, we have the customers' insights, we have decided on the segments to be targeted, we know our value proposition. So, it is time for us to come up with a message for our customers, for our potential customer, in such a way that they can feel connected with our value proposition, they can feel connected with our brand. For example, the moment LIC says, "Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi," the customers can get emotionally connected to this product, because these are the people who are very much concerned about their family's financial security in case of an unanticipated death. What will happen to their family members? What will happen to their financial securities? The moment we say this particular sentence, "Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi," so it reflects we care for your need. So, there is an emotional connectivity. The next component is privacy issues. The company needs to ensure that data will not be misused. So, whatever data the company is collecting, maybe through a survey method or maybe through an observation method or in any other form, the customers may be sensitive enough whether or may have many questions regarding how this data will be used by the company, whether it will be misused for some malified purposes. So, the company needs to ensure that through certain means. So, the company has to build a trust over the customers. The last component of this particular framework is the matrix. This is the final step and it is used to measure what is important. Measurement is conducted through defined and meaningful metrics. This particular step is extremely important in the sense that what gets measured, gets managed and can be improved. So, this is all about these 8 components of the framework for data driven marketing strategy. Now, we will look into each of these component one by one in detail. The first component is the strategic objectives. Begin by clearly defining your strategic marketing vision and objectives. In the marketing strategy, there is a vision, there is a mission. So, you have to begin by clearly defining this vision and the objectives. Next question that you have to take is, you have to avoid the data dilemma by ensuring what you know, why you are collecting data before investing in data infrastructure. What data is collected and what is the purpose, how you will analyze this data and what is expected out of it. What is the value that will be created by analysis of this data. Many of the data projects fail because organizations do not plan what to do with the data after collection. They do not have a methodology in place. They do not know how to analyze the data. They do not know how to derive insights from this data and use it in business decision making process. So, then entire investment related to data will go in waste. You have to ensure leadership alignment on marketing's role and set performance expectations upfront. For any kind of investment, whether it is in data or in any other avenue, the leadership has to be in sync. The leadership must believe that the investment is worth it and leadership must ensure that there is a set expectations and there is a proper roadmap to meet these expectations. So, this particular step helps us understand who we are and this step is very foundational in nature. It sets the course for all other activities in the framework. The next step is creation of a database. First thing that you have to do is collect the relevant customers' data before attempting full scale marketing analysis. We have to focus on the most valuable data. Remember that the Pareto principle is applicable even in data analysis. 20% of your data will create 80% of the value. So, that is why it is extremely important for us to identify those 20% of the data that comes from this problem identification stage. We have to understand the important relevant variables. We have to understand how the data can be collected precisely, how the variables can be captured precisely. In case of large firms, they may find critical data spread across siloed departments, while in case of small firms, they should try to explore what little data can still deliver value for them. You have to start by asking a practical question. What data do you already have? What data can be collected or what that will add value to solve the existing problem? What is there? What are the different sources of data? How the data that you need to collect can be collected? So, these questions needs to be answered before you proceed further in data driven marketing decision. Initial data can come from existing customer records, loyalty programs and purchase histories. Then next level of data might come from customer survey, might come from certain set of observation methods. Once we have a database in place, the next step is to analyze the data. Analyze the data to derive customer insights and behavioral understanding. We may apply various data mining algorithms, machine learning algorithms in order to discover the insights from the data. We can start small. We do not need to do advanced analytics initially. We can start with a simple Excel program. You know that Excel is sufficient for thousands of records. It can do most of the works that a small organization needs, but for larger data sets, we need some more advanced tools. So, what we have to do? We have to use the analysis to uncover patterns in customer preferences, behaviors and traits. Whether, I mean, if we talk about a departmental store, there is a observation that most of the people who used to purchase a toothpaste is also purchasing a toothbrush. So, a equivalent business decision can be that we should come up with a bundle product of toothpaste and toothbrush. So, this kind of insights may be derived from data. Customers understanding at this stage enables more accurate segmentation and targeting later. If we understand the customer needs and preferences, whether these are the customers who is looking for value for money, or they are looking for superior performance, or they are looking for brand image, or they are looking for durable products. So, if we can understand that, then in that case it will make the segmentation and targeting stage easier for us. Next stage is the segment your customers, which is also known as customer segmentation. This is a very famous framework, STP framework, segmentation, targeting and positioning. What we have to do? We have to use segmentation to group customers with similar characteristics or needs. So, one of the techniques that can be applied on your data set to segment the customer base is the clustering techniques. Let us say non-hierarchical techniques such as K-means, that can be applied to segment the customer based on their similarity. After analysis, identify and select key customer segment based on potential value and strategic relevance. So, the entire market will be divided into multiple segments. All these segments will have their own needs and preferences. Some of the needs, needs and preferences of some of the customers group, some of these segments will align well with your value proposition. So, those should be your target customers. We have to evaluate the segment based on the size. What is the size of the segment? What is the growth potential of the segment? Whether the segment is accessible for us, and whether the segment's needs and expectations are aligning well with our brand's goals and objectives or not. If these criteria are met, then in that case we can target that particular segment, because this particular segment will create more value for our brand as compared to other segments. We also need to prioritize customers who bring long term value and strategic advantage. So, once there is an alignment between what is customer needs and expectation and what is our value proposition, there is a high chance that these customers will be our loyal customers, and probably we do not need to incur additional cost like customer acquisition cost, and thereby this set of customers will create more value for our brand as compared to other customers who will not be loyal to our brand. Thus, efficient segment analysis leads to better customer communication and targeting. Next, moving to customer targeting. So, what is customer targeting? Once we have identified which particular segment will be our potential customers, it is time for us to come up with a message that our product is specially beneficial for this set of customers. We have to focus the marketing efforts on relevant and profitable segments. We have to use insights from segmentation to drive personalized marketing strategies, because we already know what is the needs and expectations of those customers. We already have a value proposition which is well in alignment with the needs and preferences of these customers. Only thing that we have to do is like we have to communicate the same thing to the customers, that there is a alignment. Targeting should follow a logic based on data derived insight, not based on any assumptions. We should not assume that this particular middle income people will look for value for money. This is just my gut feeling. Rich people will not look for value for money. This is just my gut feeling. But your targeting should not be based on this kind of gut feeling, rather it should be based on whether data is saying the same thing or not. A well targeted efforts will lead to efficient resource allocation and improved campaign results. The effectiveness of the campaign will be better if targeting is done properly, if segments are targeting after proper analysis. Next one is the marketing campaign. By this time we have already identified who will be our customers, we already have a value proposition in place, we already understood that there is a alignment between our value proposition and the customer's needs and expectations. Now it is time for us to initiate with a marketing campaign to those targeted for those segments. So we have to launch the marketing campaigns informed by data, not by guesswork. We have to move from insight to action by developing personalized and relevant campaigns. Why it should be personalized? Because if the message is personalized, then in that case the customers can feel better connectivity with the brand. We can also initiate activities like email and digital marketing customized to specific segments. It is dependent on the target customer. If target customers are well versed with the digital marketing and they are well recipient of the digital marketing, then digital marketing can be one of the option. If the target customers are not so receptive about the digital marketing campaigns, then probably we have to look into other routes to reach to those customers. And ultimately what we have to do is we have to track the responses and outcomes to continuously improve the campaign effectiveness. If you can initiate with a, let us say, digital marketing campaign, then in that case this tracking and monitoring becomes easier for us. In today's business world, everything is almost automated. In my dashboard I can glare what was the click through rate, what was the click through to leads rate, what is the leads to enrollment ratio. I can easily calculate the ratio between customer acquisition cost and customer lifetime value. So things have become easier with digitalization. Next component is the privacy issues. Privacy is a foundational concern even though it is shown near the end of this framework. The company has to be mindful for regional privacy. So you need to understand the sensitivity of the locality, sensitivity of the place where you are trying to do your business. Which particular privacy is considered seriously, which particular privacy is not so serious in that particular place. That needs to be kept in mind. At the same time, you also need to look into the regulatory rules associated with the privacy laws in that particular place. So we also can come up with the initiatives such as offering customers a clear value proposition in exchange of their data, such as loyalty discount, or it can be, let us say, a trial version of a software if the data is shared. We also need to, we as a brand need to establish an implicit contract of trust. Whenever I am giving some data to Google, then I have a feeling that my data will not be misused. Most of the time I do not, I do not read the entire document of the privacy policy, but somehow I have a gut feeling, I have built the trust over a period of time that this particular data set will not be, my personal data set will not be misused. Maybe it can be used for statistical inferences, but not at an individual level. Formally define this in your privacy policy. If you are a new, if you are not so known by the target audience, then they may have a fear about your trustworthiness. Then in that case, what you can do is you can formally define this in the privacy policy and make it accessible via my website or customer touch points. So, this is how we can build trust with the customers over a period of time. The most important component of this framework is the matrix. This is the final step. The purpose is to measure what matters. Marketing matrix helps keep the score. So, what is important, what is relevant in the business dynamics has to be measured properly in order to use this effectiveness of these activities for the future. If it is not measured, whatever mistake we have done at this particular stage, probably we will keep doing it in the future also. So, that is why measurement is important. So, what is measured can be managed, and if it can be managed, then it can the entire dynamics, entire business decisions can be improved. We have to use well established classical marketing metrics such as return on investment, conversion rates to evaluate the performance. Evaluation is extremely important, otherwise there is no accountability, otherwise there is no learning process in place. So, what is the ROI that we got from a particular marketing campaign? What is the conversion rate that is achieved from a sponsored post? Measurement helps us bring clarity, accountability and guides continuous optimization of our marketing strategy. That is why the KPIs are so important for the organizations. In today's digital technologies, in today's digital world, it provides unprecedented ability to track, analyze and respond to customer behavior. So, things have become easily accessible, data has become easily accessible, it is so traceable. So, that is why we have to move from probably if your organization is taking marketing decision based on let us say gut feeling, then you have to shift yourself towards data driven marketing decision process. Then only you can expect a better return on investment of marketing initiatives. Otherwise, you will be left behind. Probably your competitors will yield more value from the marketing initiatives than you, or probably they will understand their customers better than you understand your customers, and probably they will create a higher level or larger base of loyal customers as compared to you. And overall, if you are lagging behind in terms of data driven marketing strategy, then in that case your sustainability in the business landscape is lesser as compared to those who are taking this initiative seriously, taking data driven marketing strategies seriously. So, these are the references, these are the 3 books from which the contents are developed. So, with this I will conclude the first week of this course, Metrics and Analytics of Marketing. In the next week, in the subsequent week, I will meet you with another topic. Thank you. See you in the next class.